number of years ago, there was a Hollywood movie called Primal Fear. And in that movie, Richard Gere played a defense attorney who got a case with a stuttering altar boy. And that altar boy was played by Edward Norton. Now, Edward Norton's character was accused of murdering the Archbishop. And one of the defining moments in that movie was when his character suddenly transformed into another person. So he changed from a stuttering boy to an aggressive and dominant person. And that indicated that he had an identity disorder where he had multiple personalities. And because of that disorder, his character in the end was found not guilty by reason of insanity, and he was placed in a mental hospital. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, here's a spoiler alert. Edward Norton's character turned out in the end to have staged the whole thing. So he doesn't in fact have an identity disorder. But I wanted to start this section with that movie because it's a useful example of how mental disorders could affect crime. So when it comes to psychological explanations of crime, it's about how some people experience a non-normal development. For example, if a child is abused or experiences some other type of trauma, that may impair a normal functioning and a normal development of the child's behavior and psychology. And it may actually set kids on a pathway towards developing, for example, an antisocial personality disorder and a long-term persistent criminal career. In other words, criminal behavior may be an expression of an internal psychological issue. Research has found that there is indeed a link between violent behavior and mental disorders. But the question is, why is that the case? Now, mental disorders may include things like paranoid, psychotic symptoms, schizophrenia, and it appears that there are at least two reasons, two pathways, how mental disorders are linked to violence. First, some of these mental disorders are characterized by delusional beliefs. And these may make people feel like they're threatened, and they may react with violence to these perceived threats and beliefs. But there is also another pathway, and that is that people with mental disorders are exposed to much more stressful life events than other people. Now, stressful life events may include things like losing their job, seeing household members move out, getting into financial problems, and in general, getting less social support from other people. And because of these stresses and the lower social support, they may resort to violence to solve the problems that they face. To end this section, I think it's important to say that indeed mental disorder rates are higher among people who commit crime than among people who do not commit crime. But at the same time, it's important to note that many people with mental illnesses live in the community without any problems. So even though there is this link between mental disorders and violence, it is not the case that this applies to everybody with a mental disorder.